Whew. Hello. Welcome to episode 20 of BeekTalk. This is the live stream show that talks about the different methods and approaches that one might take when they're keeping bees. I'm the host of the show. My name is Eric Deemer, and I'm the founder of Blossom and Buzz Beekeeping and Mite Fight. And I have been keeping bees for a long time, and I have a fun time with it. And I am also based in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. This is northeastern Pennsylvania. And here it is swarm season. So let me make sure my internet and everything is set up correctly and that you folks can hear me. I love when you folks comment and let me know where you're listening from. As you can see, I am in the field. I have my beekeeping suit on, and I'm in my home apiary. It, um, so I hope that you folks can hear me out there. It is a new thing. Sometimes in beekeeping, you encounter issues that you'll only come across once every couple of years, or maybe once as a lifetime as a beekeeper. And yesterday, I had an experience that was very interesting, to say the least. Um, Here, it is swarm season right now. So hives that are mismanaged or hives that are wild and in the woods and not being taken care of by a beekeeper, it is time for them to reproduce. If they survive winter, they can certainly reproduce, and they do that by swarming. Basically, what that means is half the bees and the old queen leave the hive, and they go off into the environment to start up new. Um, this is a bad news for new beekeepers because chances are it's their bees that are leaving. It's good news for more experienced beekeepers because we're the ones who get to go catch them. So last night I got a call around 8 o'clock to go capture some bees that are about a half hour away from me, and that was worth it. It was worth it to go. I see we got Mo listening in from Florida. Howdy. um, yeah. So I caught a swarm yet last night, and I was an idiot, and I was doing it with improper equipment, and it was nighttime by the time I finally got there. So not the best work on my part, but it was certainly a very cool swarm. I had also caught a swarm earlier this week, and I weigh them when they come back to my operation, just because I want to know. It's hard to tell when it's loose bees how much space they might need and things like that. So I weighed the first swarm that I got this week earlier, and it was about 4 pounds, which is a nice size swarm. When you buy a package, when you buy a package of bees, it's about 3 pounds. Sometimes you get them a little bit bigger or smaller, but 3 pounds is the standard. So a 4 pound swarm is a nice deal. It's a good catch. The swarm I caught yesterday was very different. It had landed in a holly bush and it had stayed there for, the property owner said it was about 4 days that they've been there. So I was a little worried that I was going to be driving all this way to wind up on a bald-faced hornet nest. It was not the case. Folks, when I got there, I found a swarm of bees that was about 8 inches wide and say about 20 inches long. There's a long beard of bees hanging out of the holly bush. And when I got it home, I weighed it. And oh, actually, I'm gonna spill the news. I was gonna make a contest, but I'm gonna totally spill the news right now because I'm just so excited, folks. I caught a 24-pound swarm. Oh my lord! It was I shouldn't say it was a nightmare because I had a blast doing it, but I got stung a whole bunch of times. Again, I wasn't wearing a proper suit and stuff like that, so that's my fault, not the bees. But 24-pound swarm. It physically overflowed a Pro Nuke box. No frames, just bees. It's probably 1.5 cubic feet of bees. It's absurd. And when I got home last night, I put it in a hive. I made a hive for it, and I just wanted to give them a place to settle and to relax a little bit. And now what I'm going to do on this live stream is go through and give it a somewhat proper hive. I'm going to give it the next location it's going to rest in for probably about 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'll divide this hive up. But for right now, this is what I got. I have you might notice this orange box as my wintering cedar boards. It's screened on the bottom. Screened on the bottom, so there's a lot of ventilation. And then I have a deep where I have an entrance dial that they're coming in and out of. And then I have another 10 frame deep above it. And then I have yet another 10 frame deep above it. And then I have an extra space. This is a medium that is just extra room because there was so many bees that I was shaking in here that I didn't want, I like couldn't put the lid on. I had to give them some extra space. So, whew, it was very fun to catch them. But now I'm a little worried to go through this hive and see how it's doing. But I'm just going to follow up on, excuse me, some comments that I got. Mo, who is listening from Florida, says that it's swarm season out there too. It is swarm season. Once it hits all summer long until we get to the dearth in your area, and then it'll slow down. But yeah, it was a big swarm. And he says, I can't imagine a hive that it came from. 24 pounds is a lot. That's a great pivot to what I'm going to talk about here. 24 pounds is an absurd swarm. They don't happen like that usually. Usually you're happy to get, 5 or 6 pounds or maybe 10 pounds. So what I think happened in this situation is that the bees swarmed from one hive and landed, and then another swarm happened to come by and they kind of just merged, or maybe 2 extra swarms came by. I'm not really sure. This is not me giving you factual knowledge. This is me giving you my opinion. To make a 24-pound swarm, I think it's a combination of a few swarms. And they were just chilling out on this bush. So I don't really know. But now I have this big boy hive here that I have to start working. And since I think that it's probably multiple swarms together, I'm not sure if they had multiple queens and killed them or whatnot, but what I'm going to do today, the maneuver I'm going to do, I'm going to call the exclude and find out. Basically, what I'm going to do, since right here where I place the hive is not really a place that I like to put a hive in my apiary, I actually have an overwintered hive that I requeened in the spring, and it is on an Apime bottom board over here, and it just has a new queen from a couple weeks ago. So what I think I'm going to do is put down some paper on top of this hive, add a queen excluder, add some buffer space, add some more paper, some more excluders, start moving over bees, and just put an excluder between every couple of boxes, and just see what happens. It's possible that there's one big, healthy, strong queen somewhere in the 24 pounds, and hey, she could win and beat them all. There could be a couple of queens. They could kill the queen in this hive that I have here. I don't know. This is part of the fun of beekeeping, is wacky stuff can happen, and you kind of just got to figure it out as you move along. So this is a maneuver that I've never done before. It's a maneuver I probably won't have to do again. But hey, now that I said it, it'll probably it'll probably happen. And Mo's got another comment. Big fan, a former MMA fighter turned coach and a beekeeper. He has 3 hives and has been at it since January. Yeah, well, welcome to the community, Mo. We're certainly glad to have you. And hey, watching shows and listening to people like this is a great way to learn and get some other experience. because hey, you might not ever catch a 24-pound swarm, but this information might help you with your own situation if you ever encounter something. So what I'm going to do is set up my tripod and see what I can start doing. Um, to the regular viewers of the show, you might notice that anytime I'm in the apiary, it's some messy camera work. But that's how it goes in the bees. So let me see if I can pivot you over here and make everyone dizzy. I just want to make sure everyone can hear me well, and that the bees aren't too loud. Yeah, so I'm going to put on some gloves, and we're going to start going for this. Before I crack open the swarm, I'm going to prepare a buffer on the hive that I have that I'm going to introduce the swarm to. Realistically, 24 pounds is large enough where I could just leave it alone. But since I'm strapped for space in this apiary, and I want the space, I'm going to see if I can flip my camera around. Settings, camera, back camera. Woo! All right. So here we are. This is the hive that I'm working on. It's going to be a little quiet, but I was planning on adding a super to this hive in a week or so because it's still a little small. They're still growing a little bit. But basically what I'm just going to do, woo, is add a piece of paper here. And this is going to act as a bit of a buffer. So the bees can't just run through the excluders and start getting to know each other really quick. They're going to have to take some time to eat through this paper, and that'll offer a little tiny bit of a buffer space. And the excluders also act as a way of slowing down the bees. So, original hive that has a queen, a fresh queen from this year, some paper as a buffer, queen excluder. Now I'm going to add some space. Woo! And I'm going to pop on a honey super. I'm going to give them some room, and this is going to act as another buffer. Whew. Okay. All right, folks, let's see if we can move on over to our big monster hive here. I haven't cracked it. All I did was I poked my head in to see if everyone was still alive. But, whoo! Man, when I tell you 24 pounds, this was a big, big, nasty hive. So I got to figure out how to handle this right here. What I'm going to do is set up this, and I'm going to just take the lid, bees and all. Oh, to you folks who don't know, this behavior they're doing right now where they're hanging, you see how they're all clumped up and hanging like that? That is called festooning. And they do that as a way to produce wax. So I'm just going to, I hope you can see it. I'm going to shake them and just leave it like that. I'll pop a lid on. So now any bees that are in here, I'm going to put another excluder and some paper, and then move some of the boxes with the frames that I have over there. So if there happens to be a queen in here, by the time she starts laying, she is going to be too big to go through the excluder. So I'll have a queen down here, queen up here, and whatever else is going on above. But the idea of using all the paper and excluders is to just get the queen locked in somewhere, and hopefully it's separated from the other queens that might be in there. And then I can come back in, a week or two and remove extra queens, make splits, make moves, and we'll figure it out. But next on the list is some more paper and an excluder. So give me a moment. Whew. And we're going to do another honey super. So now we have, you see what I'm doing? I'm having chambers. Down here is a chamber. This is a chamber. This is a chamber. And now I'm going to start moving some more bees up here. And I'm realizing this hive might actually be too tall to show you with this camera shot. So let me see if I can do some shoddy camera work by moving us to on top of one of my beehives. Folks, when I tell you it is a small apiary, you have to take my word for it. Hey, let's give this a go. All right. And if you are watching and listening, please let me know where you're watching and listening from. I am going back down on the ground. Hopefully you can see me as I'm adding some more boxes, adding a lot of dead space to this colony, just to get them happy and acclimated. I don't think they need all this space, but it is certainly a good place to start. Here's just an empty box that I was using as space last night, and I'm going to remove it. So maybe I have something to stand on now. Before I show you some more of that, let me show you down here. So when I shook the bees, there's always going to be some dead ones. So there's some clumpiness here with some debris from the swarm and the bush they came from. All this stuff I'm just going to move to the side. The girls are happy to clean it out, but I'm going to give them a jump start, because whole big leaves like this are going to take a while to have them get out of the hive. Here's some more frames. So I gave them a feeder to give them some room and some food while they're locked inside. I think it's time for me to remove this now, because I do have honey supers on, and there is a honey flow, and there's a heck of a ton of workers. So I think it's time for me to remove this feeder. All right. And now I got this box, and there's bees all over the place. And they're building out wax really quickly because they need to. So I'm just going to shake this frame down and out and start moving over some of these other frames. When you're reintroducing a swarm to a hive, you definitely want to give them tons and tons and tons of room, because no one really I shouldn't say no one, because I'm sure more commercial beekeepers do know, but what is 24 pounds of bees in beekeeper terms? Is that one deep? Is that four deeps? Plus the whole transportation and travel of a split and swarm is not a good experience for them. There's 10. Yeah, it's not a great experience for the bees. So you want to just make sure they have enough room so they're not upset, because if they are upset, the second that you open up the hive, they're gonna book it on you, and that's no fun. Woo! So I'm sure you can hear that the air is very loud and busy right now, and that is because these girls have no clue where to return home to, and there will be some loss. However, there's a ton of workers in the air, and there's a ton of queen right hives. So once I put together this Frankenhive that I'm doing, that I'm showing you how to do, these bees that are loose in the air are going to just settle in and adopt another queen. So hopefully we got some good things going on. And there's bees downstairs too. Oh God. So I'm going to move this deep up here on top of this. So this box and the next deep are going to be a chamber, and then the bottom deep is going to be an additional chamber. So let me set up my standing on top of the hive camera frame, as long as I don't fall off and hurt myself. Woo! All right. So now it is time for that deep to get transferred over. This deep contains the bulk of the bees. I'll say that outright. I'll say that now. Ooh! All right, and you folks guessed it. It is time for another paper and queen excluder. Boy, oh boy, it's been a few years since I've had a hive this tall that I had to work. I a couple of years ago transitioned to, instead of double deeps, to running single deeps, and that saved my back a lot of pressure. But catching swarms is certainly making things interesting. All right, next chamber. I got to check and see if you can see me now. Woo! Here they are, still coming in, coming out. It doesn't seem like a lot, but there's at least a package worth of bees in here. They're in there getting settled. Oh, Mo is saying my bees are aggressive. South Florida bees tend to have some Africanized genetics. Yeah, you can keep them. Woo! And PA here, I'm happy we don't really have to deal with that too much. A good thing is that queen breeders like me are trying to keep the genetics calm, but sometimes when they're in the air like this, you know, you can grab a scoopful out of the air, basically. Yeah, so I'm gonna set us up back up here, and then do my last one. Let's see if I can get this open. All right. Now we have our last chamber that we're putting up here. Oh, there's still some good weight of bees in here. Don't let them fool you. The bottom box is still full of bees. Woo! All right. Here's the situation. I have whole box worth of bees up here. Ooh. Woo! All right. They're settling in up here. I'm just going to close them up so they don't all drift. Ooh. All right. So here's our final review. This is a queen right box down here below this blue. Between this blue is potentially a queen. If there's more than one queen, they're probably going to fight about it. In this this deep and this medium, there is more than likely a queen. If there's more than one queen, they're going to fight. And up here, I don't think that there's a queen, just by the sound of it, but it's possible. So 1, 2, 3, 4. When I come back, there could be up to 4 queens in this box. Hopefully, there is at least one. You never know what's going to happen, but hopefully they get, there's at least one of them. When I look back over here, I'm sure you can see the chaos that's in the air. Down here, my screen bottom board, like I said, there's some debris. Unfortunately, not all the girls make it out of, a several pound swarm, but I'll get that stuff out of the way. The living bees are happy to fly and adopt somewhere else. My feeder here is already starting to develop its own cluster, and I just want to check that there's no queen, because how funny would that be? Oh, all right. Okay, folks. So now the last trick that I'm going to do here, and this is something that I've started on all my hives, is I add these entrance dials. And this is great because then when I have a situation like this, I can open up and have each chamber have an entrance. Oh, that's if I can open it. There. So now the bees can have an entrance here. They can have an entrance here. And they already are used to this entrance up here. So here is my monster question mark hive. Like I said, I'm going to come back in about, I'm going to give them at least a week to settle. And hopefully my queen is still living downstairs. And then somewhere there's 1 or 2 queens, and that they get settled and that they eat through the paper and they're able to start communicating. And who knows, this, a 24-pound hive, that's the equivalent of, shoot, what is that, eight packages or something? Whew, it's a lot of bees. So that is my, let me flip it around. All right, that is my beak talk for today. Here is me standing. It is just as tall as me, actually, my hive, and it's only about 1.5 feet off the ground. So, whew, tall hive. 1, 2, 3 deeps, 2 mediums, and to be honest, in 2 weeks I'll probably be able to remove one of these deeps or one of these mediums, but in a few weeks after that, I'll probably have to add more space if I don't make splits out of it. Oh, Mo asked another question. Let's see what it says. So are you going to let them fight it out for dominance? Is there anything to worry about from them fighting? Yeah, I'm going to let them fight it out because I'm not really in the mood to sift through probably 50,000 bees. So that's why I added these excluders, because I'm creating zones basically. So they can fight in each zone if there's more than one queen. It is possible that I caught a 24-pound split and it was all one queen from one swarm. But holy smokes, that beekeeper must be really upset that they lost all their field force. There are things I could worry about. Like I said, I could come back and realize that the bees killed the hive that I had in the killed the queen in the hive that I had on the bottom. But that's a risk I got to take. All these bees have to be settled somewhere, and to be honest, all in one big hive, they'll probably just up and leave again. So that's why I'm doing the method like this. Also, I'm strapped for bottom boards and lids and positions to place hives. This is a 14-foot by 14-foot apiary, and I have 6, 7, 8, 9, 19 hives here. Woo! In a 14-foot by 14-foot box. That's a lot of hives. So that's why I'm combining them like this. Hopefully it works out. If anything funky happens, I'll hop on a live stream and show y'all and take it from there. And then Mo's asking if I'm on Instagram. That is a great pivot question. Before I head out of this live stream, I am on Instagram. You can find us at Blossom Buzz Bees on Instagram or on Facebook. And you can also find me at Might Fight Bees on Instagram, Facebook, and here on YouTube as well. And that is the show, my friends. Even when the show is over, you can still comment your questions, and I will come through and answer them. And that is it for now. So, Mo, I want to thank you for interacting so much. And woo, we'll take it from there. Thanks for watching, and happy beekeeping. Woo, all right.